Hi, this is Kendra from Pencil and Pigment, and today I'm going to be doing a draw with me while I have the conversation. I am filling my Midori Hibino. This is an A6 planner. I'm going to be using a Rotring Isograph. Let's get started. And I have to do a little recap. It's one of those things with YouTube, and I've kind of mentioned this before, but you really can't control how people find your videos or how they find your channel. And a lot of stuff gets found out of order, and people find you, when you're into your journey and they don't know sort of the context of things. So I have to do a little bit of recapping, and thank you so much for being patient with new folks that have subscribed and found my channel and stuff. In all of 2022, I did a no-buy art supply. And the reason I did that is because I went purchase crazy in 2021. And the reason I did that is because during 2020, I didn't create or draw a thing. It was the pandemic. I just took the year off, and we got settled into homeschooling and world domination and all the things people were trying to do that way. And my husband coming home from work and working from home and stuff. There was just like a lot on our plate. And I just said, you know what? Not doing that. So I didn't do any art, which was totally fine. And it's really good to assess your mental health like that and figure out what you need and don't need and all those things. I'm starting with an eyeball because it's my favorite thing to start with. A lot of my illustrations, I'm like, yeah, we're starting with the eye. It's one of my favorite things in the world. Anyway, so where was I? Yeah. Doing the no-buy. I just over-purchased in 2021, and I have a whole playlist of my no-buy. I have a whole playlist of my low-buy. I even talk about money. I know that topic makes some folks uncomfortable, and I apologize if that's like not something, society or culturally, that's something you're comfortable with. Not a lot of people are comfortable with random folks on the internet talking about how much they spent. But it kind of, for context, I really wanted to analyze, and when I broke down my inventory, I wanted to see what I had spent, because I felt like I had spent too much, and I absolutely had, and I just wasn't sure. And the thing with art supplies is they really, really add up fast. So I didn't buy anything for an entire year, and I documented it. And it's so weird documenting a thing you're not doing. I'm doing a thing, and my thing is not doing a thing. So it's kind of strange. And it's kind of wonderful, and it taught me a lot about myself as an artist, as a creator, as somebody on the internet. I'm not the most public person in the world. I think I'm a bit more private than a lot of folks, and so that's kind of hard because, again, like, I don't show what I look like or anything. I get enough comments about my hands or my fingernails that there's just zero incentive to show the rest of my face or body, and this is just an art channel. So there's that. I did a video at the end, towards the end of 2023, talking about my mindset of what a low buy looks like. And I've been doing a low buy now for almost 2 years. And looking back on my no buy and those really important takeaways and discoveries I made, my mindset is shifted a little bit because I'm 2 years removed now from doing that no-buy for a year. And I definitely think being 2 years into a low-buy, I sort of boredom scroll more than I did in 2023. I was so strict with my no-buy rules, and that really, really helped me in forcing me to come to terms with the supplies I owned and how long I've owned them and how much I spent on each one and how much they've sat on the shelf. Like, how long has this sat on the shelf? And I've not used it because I keep purchasing XYZ instead and use that before because I'm just so excited about having something new. Now that I'm 2 years into this low buy, I do find that I'm looking at products more. I'm looking at just what stores are stocking that's new. Like, I want to know what the new stuff is. I can't compete with that. I can't compete with the YouTubers that do haul videos. I don't want to compete with that. That's not a thing I want to get into. I'm not shaming them or I mean them no disrespect at all. YouTube rewards haul videos. They push them in the algorithm harder. They're recommended to people that have never seen their channel before. Like, haul videos are the thing that YouTube really, really loves when it comes to artists for some reason. And so if you're trying to grow your channel really quickly or get a specific audience in the shortest amount of time, haul videos are kind of the way that gets done quicker. It's not the only way, but it is a way. And doing all this publicly and doing all this on a YouTube channel, like, the whole thing is just very strange, and it's unique, and it's kind of unique to me. So when I go to talk about things like my mindset and the lessons I've learned and the things I'm doing, again, it's very specific to me. And it's why I so heavily recommend that folks do an inventory of their own. Even if you're like, I don't have a purchasing problem, that's a you problem. I get that. A lot of things are just a me problem. If you have no desire to do a low buy or a no buy, or maybe you've tried them several times and it didn't stick, you have to do an inventory. Have to. In that inventory, there's different ways you can do it. There's different styles you can do it. You can clump it by the different mediums, the different surfaces. You can group it that way. You can group it by what year you purchased things. See what you've owned the longest that you haven't used. That's a different eye-opener right there. You can organize things by amount of money spent. That's a tough one. That's a very, very tough one, because you start to see how fast it adds up. Or if you save your empties like I do and look at them at the end of the year, you can start organizing things by how long you think it'll take you to use it up. Yeah. So for specific paints, take me way longer than inks. So I would do my paints first. Okay, I would list my acrylics first because I hardly ever use them. And then that would be a thing that's, you know, sort of the red flag thing pointing at me going, you need to use this. You obviously don't use it enough. That's why this is first on the list. And that would be the reminder on top of the inventory. So going into 2 years now, I realized something. Oh, shoots. Okay. Welcome to my flaws. Welcome to my life. I realized that I have been circumventing and avoiding. Oh, the avoidance is strong with me. Okay, so my realizations were that surfaces, the paper, this is my biggest temptation. And I just have trouble with things that are being discontinued, and I have trouble with things that are unique or limited edition. Like, that's just something that I look at covers. I look at the cover and I'm like, yes. And then I'm like, okay, well, what's the page count? Cover and then page count. That is not enough information. That's not talking about what the paper quality is. That's not talking about, like, what's the percentage of cotton? Can I use wet media on that? None of that's talking about that stuff. And that's the stuff that I need to be looking at and talking about. So when I set up challenges for myself, I've done a lot of drawing challenges back to back. It's a person and a bird. Spoiler. Yeah. So doing drawing challenges is an excellent way to utilize products and, you know, fill my timeline and practice all the things I want to practice and work on. What I did for 2023, and I will link my 2023 mindset video because I still think there are important pieces of information that are helpful. I can't recap everything, otherwise this video would be hours. But I did a drawing challenge where I used, it was two sketchbooks, and it was the Stology 365. And you're like, you only need one. I only did it one-sided because of the amount of bleed through and ghosting. So I did 2 Stology sketchbooks in 2023. Okay, stay with me on this. And then this year, I wanted to do a book. And what I was going to do for my book is I was going to utilize the roll of paper I purchased because I wasn't sure what the page layouts were to look out, and some of them might need to be shrunk and some of them might need to be bigger. Like, it was just, I could cut pages to fit, and that seemed like the smartest solution. It was my Strathmore. It's my 500 series, 100% cotton, mixed media paper. And that's what I was going to use for the book. Now, I mentioned in a video quite a few months ago that the book thing did not materialize. We still have like some things going on in our house. This was the year of like health, health emergencies, health problems, and family comes first. Before art, before drawing, before my projects, like it just has to. My kids come first, my husband comes first, like it's just a thing. So my book didn't happen, and I'm not doing it for next year. I just decided, because it's such an intensive thing that I wanted to work on, that the health thing is an ongoing thing. It's not a one and done, cured, let's go. So it's going to keep popping up. It's going to keep, the doctor's appointments are going to be a lot. Like, it's just going to be a lot, okay? We can just, trust me, it's just going to be a lot. So I just decided that for 2025, I was going to go back to drawing challenges. And that's actually easier than trying to do a book with a specific timeline and all the different things that I know it takes to do a book. I have self-published books and things before, so I kind of have a little bit of an inkling. I know what it's about. I know what these things revolve and look like in certain time frames and stuff. So yeah, there's just no way. Someday maybe, when things calm down or we get things like, I don't know. There's just no way, okay? There's just no way right now. And I hope someday is sooner than later, but I have no way of knowing. So that's my sort of concession, my compromise with myself. It's like, hey, we're still going to create every day, and we're still going to draw every day, and we're still going to do all the things. It's just not going to be the book because it's too time intensive, and I can't meet those deadlines with the health stuff going on. Okay. So, but what I realized, what I've done, I like to think I'm smart and sneaky. This was not consciously done, but this may have been subconsciously done. And I purposely did not deal with the amount of sketchbooks I have. I did that drawing challenge in 2023. I wanted to see what it was like doing one type of paper for a whole year. I learned an absolute ton about myself doing that, about how I use mediums, how I use paper. I learned about my personality. I learned about my patience. I learned so much stuff about how, what I do when I'm bored, what I do when I'm stressed, what I do when I'm burned out. When you do one surface every single day for a year, you learn all these things about yourself. And it was a unique learning experience. I don't think everybody has to do that. That's not a thing. I think you get much more from a low buy or a no buy than you would from limiting your surfaces. But I enjoy learning stuff about myself. That's like a thing I really enjoy. So, yeah, big fan of that for me. Didn't deal with the sketchbooks I have though. In purchasing 2 new sketchbooks, I did not deal with the ones in my cabinet. Now we look at 2024, and I purchased this planner specifically. This was purchased because this is a huge planner. This is a lot of planner. Planners that are 365 are too much planner for me. That's not a planner I need. And I purchased it because I wasn't sure the types of notes and things I would need for this type of publication. This type of publication wasn't going to be self-published. It was going to be very specific. It was just a lot of things. And because it fell through, I didn't need this planner like that. So I ended up, I was always going to draw in it a little bit each day. And it was going to be like little quick doodles. But these little quick doodles on the right side are illustrations. They full on became drawings that became illustrations. They're not little quick doodles. I mean, you're watching one now. It's just not a little quick thing. So this became a glorified sketchbook. And in this becoming a glorified sketchbook, I didn't have to deal with all my old sketchbooks. Do you see where this is going? I am not using up my sketchbooks. I didn't use, I filled one, which was the A6 lectern that I did in October, because things were calming down in October, so that was able to be done. And then I made one from my roll, my Strathmore roll. I made a sketchbook in September. So I did not deal with the bulk of the sketchbooks that have been sitting in my cabinet that I purchased in 2021. Yep, not dealing with my biggest problem, my biggest temptation, my worst purchasing. My worst purchasing was my biggest temptation, because I just realized that I'm just a sucker for stuff. I'm a sucker for a cool cover. Like, oh, that is such a cool cover. I love that sketchbook. Like, is the paper cool? No, but look at the cover. The cover's cool. No, that shouldn't be my focus. No, Kendra, no. Just telling myself nope. Yeah. So as I go into thinking about 2025 and my goals and things I want to do for 2025, I am going to be dealing, finally, with all the purchases I made in 2021. My goal for 2025 is to use up all the sketchbooks I purchased in 2021 that I thought were a good idea that we know weren't the best idea. So I am now going to deal with the consequences of my actions. And I've been putting it off for a couple years. And I realized that today, that I haven't been dealing with it. And again, I don't know if that was consciously done. I really wanted to do a 365 drawing challenge of one paper. Like, that was so specific. But I'm looking at stuff now and I'm like, yeah, I really didn't deal with that though. And I'm still not, because I'm using this planner. And I'm using this planner like a glorified sketchbook because it's too much planner and I don't want it to go to waste. And I really like Tomoe River paper anyway. Like, it takes well to a lot of mediums. I've done quite a few watercolors in here. Not nearly enough as if it were a wet medium sketchbook or watercolor sketchbook. But yeah, so this is my realization. My huge takeaway for 2024 is how I've avoided dealing with the purchases that I did in 2021. I haven't dealt with it. I haven't faced it. I haven't dealt with it. I've inventoried it. I've looked at it. I've touched on it a little tiny bit, but I haven't ultimately dealt with it. I haven't gone through. I haven't used up my stuff. And I need to do that. I need to use up my supplies. And in using up actually all the services and using up all my temptations, I will then realize it will then finally sink into my brain that I just cannot make purchases based on what covers look like. I can't. Like, I can love a company and I can be like, yeah, but their stuff isn't the best for me. It's not the best for my output. It's not the best for the different mediums I use. Like, I really have to take these things into consideration. I can't just go, oh, look, shiny. Yep, want one of those. And then, hit point click and then have it sit on my shelf for years. And then I figure out a different drawing challenge I'd rather utilize and do. And then I don't end up dealing with anything. And the whole point of all this, not just, ultimately I want to be the best illustrator and artist I can be for myself while I'm enjoying and having a great time, because, dude, creating's the best. It's my favorite. I love it so much. I want to use my stuff and I want to make smarter, better purchases. And again, if I'm just not dealing with stuff and I'm pushing it aside and like, it's later Kendra's problem. Kendra now isn't learning anything if we're making it, my problem later. So I've managed to make this my later problem, and now I need to deal with it. And I guess that's what 2025 is going to be. Me dealing with it. Me going through and actually using every single sketchbook and going, God, this was a terrible idea. Like, I purchased some beautiful Kokio green, they don't really call them sketchbooks. I don't know. Field books? I don't know. Some of them have different names because of the way the paper's lined. Like, the paper's gridded. I'm so done with drawing on gridded paper. I've been doing it for a year now. I'm a little tired of grids. I have a bunch of gridded paper sketchbooks. No, That is not a thing I should be purchasing. That doesn't help my art at all. I don't use grids like that. It doesn't enhance or help me in any way when it comes to illustrating. So I don't use them. You'd think I'd use them to line up eyeballs, but I don't. It's just not a thing. I just draw and I just go and I just keep going. So these are bangs. I just haven't filled them in yet. Welcome to my problem. So how is my mindset? I watch even less haul videos than I did last year. And I didn't watch hardly any haul videos last year. Again, I think I'm more interested in planners just because, again, I couldn't find a planner system that worked for me. And again, I delved into making my own, and that was like a really interesting like thought process and creative process and crafting process. And I don't do nearly enough like crafting and collaging. It's mostly just illustration stuff. So that's been really, really fun. But yeah, I don't watch haul things. When there were a couple channels where folks were talking about like different pigments and things being discontinued, and I would check those out because I think that's fascinating. The discontinuation of certain pigments and the reasons why. Like it's just, I love knowing why. So that was really, really interesting. I don't even watch those anymore. And I watched some of those in 2023. I'm not watching those anymore. I don't, like things are being discontinued. That's none of my business, I guess. I don't care. I don't use enough wet media. I want to do way more watercolor in 2025. We will see, because again, a lot of my sketchbooks, no, they were terrible purchases. They're dry media only. So, yeah. I kind of sunk my own ship, and I have to deal with that. And I suppose I could do trades. I could, you know, sell things, switch things. But I really want to learn. I really want to learn the hard way. I really want to force myself to learn the hard way. I really don't want to make this mistake ever again. And the mistake is not being thoughtful with my purchases. So that's what 2025 is going to look like. It's going to be me going through my entire sketchbook inventory, hopefully, and not leaving much at all. So I am really, really going to be dealing with what I purchased, and it's going to be one of those things where like, yeah, the cover is cute. It wasn't worth all this. Like we know it's not. It just isn't. And it's sort of one of those things because I do the bulk of my shopping online. We don't really have substantial art stores where I live. It's like not a thing. Like we have some craft stores, but they don't have like sketchbooks. They don't have any artist grade anything. There's no artist grade stuff where I live. And I do live in a city, but there's just not that stuff. So buying things online and then you see a bright shiny thing, it's why they do that online. It's why it's posted online. It's why it was created. It gets your attention. And unfortunately, the things that get my attention aren't the best things for me and my art and the different mediums I own. So, yep, coming to terms. Coming to terms with all the things. So that's, yeah, I really put it off and did not deal with it. And I just realized that. I'm just really, oops. So, yeah, I do enjoy seeing that companies are putting out new things, but again, my mindset's different, and I look at the things and it's not like it's a thing for me. So when somebody's like, oh, they created a different set of granulating convenience watercolors, or look, they created a palette of, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something, of colored graphite that you can use, like built into a watercolor palette. I'm looking at you, Derwent. I sure am. I don't look at that and think, oh, I want that. And I don't look at that and think I could buy that. I just look at it and I go, oh, that's interesting. They created a thing. I didn't know you could package it that way. That's interesting. And then I move on to the next thing. That's not a thing. Again, it's just not for me. It's not for me. So my mindset is still sort of stuck in that. It doesn't really apply to me. And my biggest temptation is still my biggest temptation. And my problem that got me into this mess is still a problem I need to confront and deal with. And it's not like a huge, dramatic, horrible thing. If I'm making it sound that way, I don't mean it that way. I'm going to enjoy going through my sketchbooks. I'm going to enjoy trying to find really creative ways to apply the mediums I own into these sketchbooks. It is a lot of problem solving when you have too many sketchbooks that require dry media and half your media is wet. So it's going to be an interesting challenge. I'm going to try and have fun with it, make it interesting. Things I obviously love drawing and enjoy doing. Lots of animals, people. You sense a theme here, don't you? I do too. I sense a theme as well. Anyway, it's not as dire as I make it sound, but it's definitely something I haven't been dealing with, and it just I just realized like I can create all the unique drawing challenges I want and never deal with the amount of inventory and things I have. I never deal with it. Just constantly put it off. And I'm not growing as an artist if I'm constantly putting off, you know, dealing with the things that I've purchased. Like that's not part of my growth. And in doing a low-buy art supply, it's just not part of it. And again, that was never my intention for this sketchbook. I mean, for this planner, to become like a glorified sketchbook. And my planner last year was a wrong purchase as well. I purchased a Midori B6 and I bought editing software and I bought a digital microscope, and I was like, I don't know how to use either one. And so I want to make sure there's tons of lined paper so I can take copious notes and learn how to use these programs, and learn how to edit videos and make them look cool and do all this stuff. Phew, I did not need all that paper. It was too much planner for me. And this stuff I bought was, it just didn't take me long to learn. And I didn't need those pages for notes. I mean, better to have them and not need them, correct. But again, I don't purchase the right planners either. I just have a paper purchasing problem. I just do. I need to hire somebody I tell them what I own and be like, hey, you need to purchase paper with me. You need to help me. I need somebody to hold my hand when I purchase paper. And I totally want to go live at some point. Like I would love to do live videos and look at things with you and talk to you like as my mind looks at different stuff for the first time. I would love to do that. And maybe you could talk me down and be like, Kendra, that's terrible. Don't do that. Or I've used that. Don't use that. Like I know I will never buy super specialty paper. There's a bunch of paper I'll just never buy because it's just, you know, it's too unique. It's only for one medium. It's too niche. But I just fall prey to everything else. I'm not doing myself any favors. So looking at my low-buy art supply mindset over seasons, like doing a no-buy for an entire year showed me what my no-buy mindset is over different seasons. Doing a low-buy art supply over years has shown me what my mindset looks like over years. And it changes with the amount of stress going on in the year, the projects I have lined up, what things are looking like. It all affects, everything affects. Like we're having a much colder winter this year than we did last year. I can't even tell you how cold I am. I'm so cold. I'm perfectly healthy. Thank you for asking and wondering. I run cold anyway. We're having a cold year, which hurts my hands. It makes drawing hard. So, all the things. Welcome to all the things. Yeah, and doing a low buy for years and years, my mindset's going to alter. It's going to sort of change depending on the years. And this year there has been more online. I need a thing. I'm going off the page here. I need a protective sheet. Okay. I've definitely been looking at stuff for sale more this year than last year. Definitely. And boredom scrolling, definitely more. In lull purchasing months. Am I buying more things in general than I did last year? I don't really know. And I don't think so, nor do I think that in doing a low buy art supply, I've become less of a purchaser. I've never been a huge purchaser. So I don't know that this low buy is like moving over to other aspects of my life. I definitely know in buying like art books, this is something I kind of want to touch on because books are sort of a temptation. Again, I don't know what it is with paper. In buying art books and having sort of an inspiration library, I don't. I purchased some and then I donated some and I kept very few. I would love, this is like dream me versus reality me. In my mind, I would love to have an inspiration library where I have tons and tons of books by artists from around the world in different eras and decades and all the things. Like I would love full inclusive representation in a library that is other people's art. I would love that for me. My wallet wouldn't care. I could create shelving, but I think that my mindset on that specific thing has changed. And unless it's a reference book that I know for a fact I can actually glean something out of, or it's something business related that I know I'm going to want to donate to our library when I'm done with it, I'm not purchasing. And at one point digitally, I was looking at a lot of stuff for a digital reference. Like, I would love to own this book. This book would be amazing. I love this illustrator. I don't own anything by this illustrator. And people like supporting artists, you know? A lot of folks have like, you know, a Degas coffee table book or Monet or Frida Kahlo or something, you know? Like just a couple coffee table books of artists. And I don't. I have a couple books. I have an Aubrey Beardsley. And then I have, and I can't say her name right. I'll throw it up. It's her circus book. And her line art is amazing. And her animals are amazing. I don't want to mispronounce her name. So I'm just not going to be that level of... Yeah. Okay. So, those are it. And then I have like a unique book that's this guy did. It's called The Mushroom Garden. Adam. Yeah, I don't know his last name. I'll throw that up too. I don't have a huge inspiration library. And a lot of artists do. I have a photography friend. He has the most amazing photography books. Like, I just wish I had taken a photo of his photography, like, inspiration library, because it's in these really cool stacks. Like, he's just an artist all the way around. And so his stacks of books, he's a photography teacher too. And his stack of art books is really like creatively displayed as well. But yeah, I don't have a photo of it and I don't have his permission to show the inside of his house. So I'm not doing that out of respect. But yeah, I don't. And again, that's definitely changed. That's absolutely changed. Because I thought when my no buy ended, that I would start buying inspiration books. And things other people do that I don't do, that I love looking at, that are just so dang cool, that might help me improve my art. Like, I just thought I would go back to wanting to buy those. And I don't. I don't want to have them. I don't want them just sitting there. I look at mine like once a year and I go, yes, yes. I love everything they've done or are doing. I just love it all. And then I put it down and I go, yeah, but I don't create that way. So I need to work on my skills that are things that I need to work on for me, in the interests I do, in the mediums I choose, and the surfaces I create on. Everything's so unique to me that when I talk about my mindset and I talk about looking at things and I talk about purchases, like, my problems are so wholly, they're not like problems, but the issues are so wholly unique to me that it's hard to like give the best amount of advice to you, because I don't know where you're at. I don't know what your temptation is. I don't know what your purchasing looks like. I don't know how long things have sat on your shelf. I don't know what your issue is. Like, I don't know. So I really, oh, I'm dropping things. I really want to encourage folks to do their own low buy or no buy, or take a month off. Really push yourself and analyze the things you have and why you have them, how you create, how much you create, how long it takes to use something up. You could even start like a little notepad and be like, opened blank pen, this date, drew, 100 times this year, this size, and then you can see used pen up this year. And it just doesn't take, like, the amount of time it takes to use something up isn't what we think. It's just not. And I have used an absurd quantity of pen and ink this year. Fill in this A6, I just have. And I won't be repurchasing a lot of those pens, which is weird. It's a weird thing. I probably won't be repurchasing Tombos, and I like them. They're fun, but it's just a convenience thing. It's not a skill building thing for me. I'm not building my skills when I'm using a Tombow and stuff. So I don't know what to tell you. My mindset is some things have gotten better and some things have gotten worse. And I think that's kind of the nature of the beast with the brain, and being years removed out now from doing my no buy, that I will never purchase books just for inspiration. But I still look at sketchbooks and think, ooh, that cover's pretty. Even if the paper isn't something that is the best fit for me. So, I clearly need to work on it. And I'm really hoping that by the end of 2025, I've used up the bulk of all my sketchbooks, and we can have a really thoughtful, interesting chat about what that was like looking at my purchases and realizing that they were the wrong fit. And I'm hoping that I don't repeat those mistakes. I'm human, so I'll make new ones, such is life. But I'm really hoping that I don't repeat those, and I get better at choosing things, not because they're trying to grab my eye online with purchases, but because the paper inside is something I can utilize, and it'll be really helpful to me. So, welcome to my mindset at the end of 2 years of doing a low-buy art supply. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm still dealing with the fallout of over-purchasing in one calendar year. And that is something that I will continue to deal with until it's done. So I'm hoping by, 2026, I can move on with the most educated, thoughtful purchases that I can. I really love this as a fine liner. So I'm done buying disposable Micron pens. I'm done with that. That part of my life is over. I will just be buying ink and replacing ink in these. This is a more thoughtful, useful purchase for me. Paper is going to be an ongoing challenge, because it's not like, it's the thing with dieting and trying to eat right. You still have to eat every day, so it's constantly a thing you're processing through. I'm creating every day, so I'm constantly going to have to process the type of paper I purchase. It's going to be a constant learning curve. It's all going to be the journey. There is going to be no destination in this. It's going to be year after year of me trying to get my mind right and my purchases the best. And I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you listening to me ramble and watching me doodle a thing. I appreciate you so much. And this has been such a wild ride, and it's been so bizarre making it public and making these things about my life and my art public, and it being so well received, and you guys being so considerate and just watching my videos. It's really just a very kind thing for you to do. And I really hope you're getting some sort of inspiration or idea. I really hope these videos help you. I really hope that they help you with your journey and your creating process and stuff. And I hope we can continue to keep doing that together. So I hope you have an absolutely wonderful week, and I will talk to you later. Bye.